Well, before going into our next panel, it's a pleasure for us to take a few minutes with one of our conference sponsors, Cogeco, to hear about some of the work that they've been doing on inclusive growth. I'm pleased to welcome Cogeco's Senior Vice President and Chief Public Affairs, Communications and Strategy Officer, Marie-Hélène Labrie. Marie-Hélène brings more than 2 decades of experience in communications, and prior to working at Cogeco, she was with NRCam as a communications consultant and also at CAE. Marie-Hélène, thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for the invitation, Mark.
So today's Canada 360 event is all about the future of economic growth, and there are so many different ways that you can talk about the future of economic growth. And what we're going to be talking about actually in the next panel is about inclusive economic growth. And I think the conversation that we're going to have right now sort of tees up that conversation quite nicely. And so maybe to help share some of those experiences, you could maybe just talk at a little bit of a high level as to kind of what Cogeco does as a business for all of our folks in the audience, and speak a little bit to how your company is working to foster inclusive economic growth.
Yes, my pleasure. Maybe first of all, I'd like to maybe explain a little bit what Cogeco does. Cogeco is a leader in the telecommunication and media sectors, and we have more than 60 years of existence. And we have 3 business units, 2 in the broadband services sector. So we provide internet, television, and phone services, Cogeco Connection in Canada and BreezeLine in the US. And we serve more than 1.6 million residential and business customers, Quebec, Ontario, in 12 states in the US. And we have also our media business, Cogeco Media, where we basically own and operate 23 radio stations, as well as a news agency in Quebec. So we're very engaged in supporting our communities, promoting inclusive growth, as well as fighting climate change. And I would say inclusive growth is really part of our DNA. The founders of the company were very involved in through philanthropic activities. So it's kind of been part of how we see growth. It has to be inclusive. And addressing poverty, poverty has been also things we've been really have been important for the company and our the family of the founders of Cogeco. So I would like to touch on 3 main areas that really are the main areas of focus for Cogeco to really promote inclusive growth and contribute to a more inclusive growth. The first one is philanthropic leadership for social inclusion. The second one I'll talk about is investments in digital inclusion. And the third one is about how we promote diversity inclusion in the workplace. So those are really kind of the 3 main areas where we focus on, and we want to contribute to as a way to contribute to a more inclusive growth. So the philanthropic leadership. So as I said, community involvement is really part of our core values since the company was created in 1957. So we contribute to their social, economic, and cultural development through by supporting local initiatives and nonprofit organization. And we commit to donate at least 1% of our pre-tax profits in donations. And for example, in fiscal year 2021, we went beyond our commitment and we donated 17 million. And we supported 700 local nonprofit organizations in the communities we serve. So, and our philanthropic leadership was recognized in several occasions. And we received the Caring Company certification from Imagine Canada, which recognizes the outstanding leadership in community investment and social responsibility in Canada. So it's really key for us to address poverty and social inclusion via our philanthropic leadership. And my team is in charge of this at the corporate level. The second element, which I think is really key, is how as a company involved in broadband can really contribute to digital inclusion. So economic growth is also highly linked and correlated to connectivity. Having access to internet is so important for small businesses, communities, for people to access, to be able to for learning and education. So it is an essential service we're providing. So we've been very dedicated in investing in connecting areas that are unserved today and addressing the digital divide between large urban centers and less populated areas. So we've invested a lot of money. We're working with governments also as part of some broadband programs to really accelerate the deployment of high-speed internet in underserved and unserved areas. So we committed to invest over $1 billion during 5 years, and we have several projects on the way to really accelerate investment to address that. And a lot of studies are demonstrating how important it is for economic growth. We're also, in partnership with the federal government, we're also participating to a program called Connecting Families, which provides low-income families with access to internet at a lower price. In the US as well, we have different programs to really support household to have access and providing a package that includes, for example, free installation. And we're also participating to a program called Computers for Success Canada with the Government of Canada, where we donate computers that are at the end of, that have to change, to be replaced and can be reused. So it's good from an environmental standpoint, and it's good for those students who, because they have access to laptops that are still good quality and can be used. So I think we donated over 1,000 computers over the last 3 years. So the last one is really promoting the diversity and inclusion in our workplace. We believe it's having an inclusive workplace is really contributing to a work environment that stimulates innovation, where it provides a highly collaborative and engaging environment and drive innovation, and where people can feel they can, share their ideas, they feel they have equal opportunities for career advancements, regardless of gender, skin color, ethnicity, religion, age, disability, or sexual orientation. So that's really key.
So picking up on that last point, there's a lot of companies varying sizes that are in the audience today. I mean, on diversity and inclusion, what are some of the best practices that you think, could be imparted to some of those companies in the audience?
So diversity and inclusion is really a key component of our ESG program. So it is something we do, we focus on as part of our ESG program and corporate social responsibility program, and that we measure and that we report on. And I would say that in 2001, we took additional step to really reinforce diversity, the importance of diversity and inclusion in the workplace, and also further increase accountability. We unveiled also our commitment to diversity and inclusion by making public our stance on the importance of this topic. And we had a lot of conversations with different groups and different companies, because we do believe that sharing best practices is really a way to really support the advancement of diversity and inclusion in the workplace. So the way we approach this is that we established 6 key levers that are really enabling us to further promote diversity and inclusion. So we have one that's called Listen. And this is really the pillar to where we focus on creating an environment that fosters open dialogue with listening forums where each feels comfortable in gaining greater awareness of each other's experiences and perspectives. The second one is one that we call Share. So we commit to work with other organizations to help each other evolve and enhance our diversity and inclusion strategies. Train is a third one. We commit to roll out more training and education initiatives addressing, for example, unconscious biases, promoting D&I, and also adopt a common language around D&I. The fourth one is Take Action. We call it Take Action. It's really where we decided to establish a D&I leadership committee that is working with the CEO and is responsible for the development of tangible action plan. And we have a DNA expert who has joined the company and to really further develop our strategy, coordinate action, and monitor progress. The fifth one is Represent. So, and this is the one where we focus on ensuring that our workforce, senior leadership, board positions are representatives of our communities, of the society, with the objective of always improving the alignment every year. So, and do that by establishing targets also beyond gender. So we really want to have more targets so that we can keep track of our representation. And we traditionally focused on women representation, gender diversity. And now we want to, be more structured in establishing targets beyond gender. And the sixth one is support. So, and this is where we focus on increasing philanthropic investments aimed at promoting D&I and supporting underrepresented groups. So that's how we kind of structured ourselves, and we looked at best practices from others, and we really identified those six levers.
So I guess despite the fact that you've done so much as a company to have those various levers, by no means is the work done. And certainly, I think it'd be really interesting to see what the future does have in store for Cogeco's work in this space. So could you maybe speak a little bit to that as to kind of what you're thinking about now, looking ahead into the future?
So it's interesting. And as you focus on diversity and inclusion and you read more about it, you feel that there's so many things you don't know. And this is what we came to realize at one point when we decided to really put more time in focusing on diversity and inclusion and what it means for our company. And having a dedicated resources, a director of diversity, inclusion, and belonging is really making a difference for us in better structuring our activities, prioritizing. There's so many things we want to do, and we want to do it right. So we feel that, now we can really, with our leadership council also we put in place, and having a dedicated resource and having put together those six levers, we have a better structure. So now we're focusing on having action plans that are structured. And for example, this year we decided to focus on 4 main priority areas: talent acquisition, education and awareness, assessment and action, and external involvement. And just to give you an example, we invited last year Michael Bach, the author of the book Birds of All Feathers, as a guest speaker for our annual leadership event with all the VPs across the company in Canada and the US. And Michael Bach is the founder and CEO of the Canadian Center for Diversity and Inclusion. And it was great. And we also shared the book with everyone. Everyone got a copy of the book, and it really helped also have a common understanding of what it means, what diversity inclusion means, and also have a better understanding of the best practices and the tools we can develop internally.
Great. Well, Marie-Hélène, thanks so much for making the time to speak with us this afternoon about some of the work that Cogeco has been doing in the diversity and inclusion space. And I think this is, again, has set up the next panel discussion really well. And I hope that the audience gets a chance to enjoy the next panel. Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you very much.